Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. I'm Jessie Milestone, and this was almost a meant to offend video because I'm fairly certain I'm going to offend a lot of people with the things I'm about to say. So just keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind that if you notice my giant red knuckles or my flesh complexion, it's because I was punching things earlier today, but I'm fine, so don't worry about it. Alright, so my assertion is that Batman Forever is the best Batman film. Now, some of you are already freaking out because you have confused Batman Forever with Batman and Robin. It is confusing, I understand. Chris O'Donnell played Robin in both of these films. Batman Forever was the first one of the ones we had since Michael Keaton to feature Robin. It is not Batman and Robin. It is not the one where Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Mr. Freeze and Uma Thurman plays Poison Ivy. It is not that one, okay? It is Val Kilmer is Batman, Jim Carrey is the Riddler, Tommy Lee Jones is Two-Face, and your lovely damsel in distress is none other than Nicole Kidman. So that's the movie we're talking about, just to get that out of the way first. So now, the best way, as we've learned from all our great politicians, to prove that you are the best, or the thing you're talking about is the best, is to, of course, discount all of the other things. So here we go. Now, I'm not really gonna rip on Adam West's Batman because I think that in so many ways that was a wonderful film. It just, the level of camp and the ridiculousness in the writing, I mean, at that point, to write the kind of ridiculously stupid jokes that they had in that film, like, that is a level of talent at that point. And I mean, look, those costumes. I feel like this movie is discounted from the running of Best Batman film solely on the fact that I, who am terrible at doing any kind of sewing whatsoever, could have made those costumes. And you can just buy any of those in any costume store. Like, that is the quality of the costume you buy at a costume store when you want to be Batman or Robin. But I digress. Like I said, there is some brilliance in it. There's the level of truth in tone to the comic books is in its own way brilliant. But I think we can all agree that that's kind of, it's not really in the questions here. So moving on. Now we have Michael Keaton in Batman. Now, personally, I find Michael Keaton with all of that hair and not so much of a receding hairline just visually, like, mildly disconcerting. There's something about him that just reminds me a little bit of Tim Curry, who is another person I find incredibly disconcerting. So there's that. I mean, overall, solid performance, but really, I mean, Batman, that, and this is the problem you run into when your primary villain is the Joker, is that this is not so much a Batman film as it is a Joker film. Anyone who watches that movie and says that Jack Nicholson does not completely steal the show is out of their freaking mind. I mean, the man is brilliant, absurd and crazy and ridiculous, but it doesn't feel like a Batman film. And you get this thing that we have in the Tim Burton Batmans, where you lose a lot of that comic book campiness, and it leans a lot more into the darkness and the tortured soul that is Batman and the people around him, etc. Which leads me into Batman Returns. Now, this one is, a lot of people will probably try to claim is the best one, and with good reason. I mean, talk about an all-star cast. We've got Michael Keaton, we've got Michelle Pfeiffer, you have Christopher Walken, and Danny DeVito. I mean, that's pretty solid all the way around. I'm not gonna knock any of that or any of those performances, but once again, you now are diving deeper into this tortured world to the point where this almost becomes a film noir. And in the way that a film noir has a lot of twists and turns that are not always easy to follow, so does Batman Returns. I mean, as much as I enjoy the Catwoman character and how they create her in this movie, it just feels like she's injected into everything and ends up becoming a distraction from the actual plot. Like, she's just living this out, this little side story, and yeah, it comes in at the end to save the day, but it feels like a lot of really good pieces that were there that didn't really come together. And I think that Danny DeVito was the masterfulness that is Danny DeVito was swallowed up by sort of the dismal, pitiful character that is Tim Burton's Penguin. So I'm knocking that one out of the park right now. All right, we'll get to Batman Forever. That one will be next in the sequence. I think we can all just out of hand. We don't even need to talk about Batman and Robin. Like, we can all just accept that is probably the worst Batman movie ever made and that will ever be made. So, sweep that under the rug. Moving on to our reboots now. Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. Okay, Batman Begins, again, not really a Batman movie, that's an origin movie. That's like, I mean, when you look at, at like X-Men Wolverine, you know, like that is not an X-Men movie per se. That's where Wolverine came from. Yeah, I mean, I don't need to explain an origin story. You guys know what the hell I'm talking about. So that it doesn't really feel like a Batman. It doesn't have the things that Batman movies have. It just has sort of the growth and development of this. It's almost Bruce Wayne on a hero's journey. Dark Knight, again, that's a Joker movie. It's not a Batman movie. Batman and don't even get me started on Maggie Gyllenhaal's performance in that film, which was god-awful, or the way they completely wasted the entire character of Two-Face. And just things like... The best part about that is the Joker. I watch the movie over and over and over again for the Joker's performance, but as a Batman film, it doesn't do it for me. And Batman, The Dark Knight Rises is just a cobbled together mess of trying to bring all of the plot points together and wrap it up in a neat little bow with a tight little ending. And the only reason why Bane is even good at all is because he's played by Tom Hardy, and that man is just made of magic. I'm going to say a lot of unpopular things in this video. One of them is that I don't like Christian Bale's Batman. I do not like him as Bruce Wayne. I think he's way too much of a floozy party boy, and then like just quickly 180s into this dark, tortured soul. That's just, I don't like it. I think it's a little too over the top. It's a little too in your face with the characterization. I don't like his Batman either. I think that voice is ridiculous. Come on, that's way too much. Oh, I'm not wearing hockey pants. Like, really, guys. I'm ready for another unpopular take. I do like Ben Affleck as Batman, actually. I really, really like him as Batman. Now, look, Batman vs. Superman is an atrocious movie, as is the Justice League. I'm not arguing for any positive facts about those movies whatsoever. But I will say that I do like Ben Affleck in the Bruce Wayne role, and I do like him as Batman. I think that he does it for me. He really does. He makes me tingle in all the happy places. I think I also like the fact that his like squarish proportions really resemble the Batman like in the little kid storybooks in the animated series, so that makes me happy. Or the Bruce Wayne in those iterations. Now, on to the main point. Batman Forever. This movie is a triumph. Now, you take the total comic book campiness that we got from Adam West, and you take a little bit of the dark, gritty universe that we got from Tim Burton's Batman films, and you marry them together in this rich explosion of color and loud, angsty mid-90s rock music and just joy. I love Val Kilmer as Batman. Blonde Batman. I really do. I really enjoy Val Kilmer as Batman. I don't know why. Maybe I was like at the right age to find him ridiculously attractive when I saw it, but something about his sort of very understated performance, his very reserved, cool attitude as a Bruce Wayne, and his very stoic, purposeful Batman. I think I like the marriage of those two things. I think he makes sense as both Bruce Wayne and Batman, and that dorky smile when he walks out of Nicole Kidman's bedroom after she's decided that it's Bruce Wayne she wants. Oh my god, that's just so delightful. Now, the villains in this movie, I mean, Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones, Riddler, Two-Face, the way they work together. We have never in a Batman movie had two villains work together in such a magic, beautiful way with such incredible chemistry. And my god, the art design in this film, the set design, the costumes. Now, like, the suit that Two-Face wears, I would wear that suit. That is ridiculous and amazing. The way his whole house is done with the split down the middle, and, by the way, Drew Barrymore is one of his, like, fairy henchmen, as his, like, angel henchman versus his devil henchman chick. Anyway, just, Jim Carrey's just over-the-top, explosive, non-stop dialogue firing at you, little brilliant nuggets like Joygasm that just make you so, so happy. I mean, everything about this movie. How do you not smile watching this movie? It just makes you happy. It's a feel-good film. And it does... Also, like the Tim Burton one, delve into a little, like we have the Nicole Kidman's character, Chase Meridian, is a psychologist who's analyzing Batman. So we're getting in a little bit into this, like, deep psychosis that is this man. He has this, like, intense flashback scene at some point in it. And it's just, oh my god, Chris O'Donnell is Robin. Like, that's the great thing, right? Chris O'Donnell is freaking amazing. He is just a powerhouse as a human being on a screen. He's so much fun to watch. He's so engaging. He's so funny and just, like, everything about him. His little, like, oh, God, love it. And, of course, wasted in Batman and Robin, the trash film. So we actually get to enjoy his performance in this one, being, you know, who he is, and delivering the greatest line in Batman, which, by the way, I have to play this for you guys, because if you haven't seen Batman Forever, or not in a while, and you don't remember this line, this is easily the best line, probably in any film ever. Here it goes.
Holy rusted metal, Batman! God, it's all metal! It's full of holes, you know? Holy!
Not only is that great, because it's such a ridiculous throwback to the old Batman comics. Holy rusted metal, Batman! But Batman's reaction, holy rusted metal, huh? And then he explains it, which just makes the line so perfect. And Batman's response, oh. It's just, you don't get that kind of brilliance anywhere else. And now, I barely even mentioned the soundtrack. All right? I mean, you've probably even forgotten, what is it? Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me, the incredible U2 song from it. But let's be real. There are two kinds of people in this world. People who know the song Kiss from a Rose from anywhere else, and people who know it from Batman Forever. And I'm proudly in the latter category. And if you're watching this, you probably are too. I mean, come on, like, and I mean, that aside, the soundtrack itself, the big, bold fanfare, it's a departure very much from the Danny Elfman sort of more mysterious, creepier soundtrack, and you get this big, bold fanfare that just, it's such a 90s movie. That's probably why I love it. It is such a 90s film, down to like the two of them running in the mist at the end in the light of the bat signal. I mean, it's so quintessentially 90s. You have the best campy elements from the comic books. And speaking of 90s, the freaking like Dayglow Street Fighters in that one part. That Robin like takes down and kisses the girl. That little scene. I mean, like it actually works, even though it's sort of ridiculous and out of place. Like it works to give you a good characterization of who Robin is. And you have that great moment where he starts beating up on Batman and is like, "You asshole, you could have saved them. Why didn't you save them?" Because he's just realized that Bruce Wayne was Batman and he knew Bruce Wayne was at the circus. And he was like, "If you had just identified yourself, they would have been alive." And it's like it's a moment. It's like a beautiful moment there. Like, there are actually wonderful relationships in this film. The characters have not like a crazy amount of development. You don't want that. It's Batman, right? But enough that like you feel attached to them, you feel connected to them, you care about them. And then at the very, very end, the Riddler is all psychotically locked up in his cell, comes out flapping his shredded uniform going, "I'm Batman." And like nothing is better in the entire universe. So if you're not sold yet, then you're just a terrible person, and I can't help you, and I can't fix you. But that is why Batman Forever is the best Batman film. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Guys, I'm on Patreon, which is this super exciting way where you guys can give me money to help support my yelling habit. And in addition to that, you become part of my Patreon community, which is so far full of some really cool, funny people. You get to talk to them, you get to watch special exclusive for Patreon-only content, and you get super fun weirdo rewards that you would only want if you like my videos. So that link is in the description below. Go ahead and check it out. You know, consider even just $1 a month. That's $12 a year. Like, even I can afford that. I would love you forever and ever and ever, and probably tell you so. So that's the thing you can do. Anyway, stay tuned for next time, and I love you all.